Warning, this video may contain content that may not be suitable for children or anyone else that is easily offended. Strong language, graphic content, nudity, bad jokes, and a possible idiot, aka myself, may be featured in the following clip. Viewer discretion is advised. Channel is not responsible for any damages that you receive watching this video. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Zems, and welcome to another week of reaction videos, man. Thank you guys so much, man, and continuing to do what you guys do best, which is support your boy. Today, we're going to be watching episode 1 of 3 disturbing Home Alone stories by Daily Dose of Creeps. This video was recommended to me by Chaz Johnson, so thank you guys so much. Keep recommending me videos. Also, JJCG, I did not forget about that video you recommended to me, but I have to ask permission first. He pursues copyright strikes, and I'm not trying to get copyright strike. And also, someone tell this person down in the comment section right here that oranges are better than apples. That's all I gotta say. Hey man, plug them headphones in, man. Make sure you guys go swoop down to the description box, click on the link, and watch the video in turn. Let me pause it and stop it through the whole thing. 16 minutes is about to turn into 25 because you know your boy like to talk. 3 disturbing Home Alone stories.
This is Daily Dose of Creeps. Welcome to episode 1.
What's good, Creeps?
3 disturbing Home Alone stories. Story 1, The Mad Animus.
Animus. Sound like a bad sex toy.
I was 12 years old when it happened. Even though I'm nearing my 30s now, I remember the day like it was yesterday. Believe me, it's not something you would forget about in a hurry.
I bet.
I was home alone. My parents had gone out to a friend's place for dinner that night and told me they would be back late. They were going to arrange for a babysitter, but like most 12-year-olds, I convinced them I was old enough to look after myself for a few hours. Something I'd quickly come to regret.
Forget that.
They reluctantly agreed, and I excitedly ushered them out the door, eager to have the whole house to myself for a few hours. I spent the first hour or so playing Soul Calibur on my GameCube and devouring all the junk food I could find from both the cupboards and the fridge. It was already starting to get dark at this point, the sky turning a deep shade of purple. It must have been around 8 o'clock at night.
It's about to go down.
It being South Florida, it started to rain pretty heavily at this point, per usual.
Florida.
My parents told me not to expect them back until about 10, so I still had about 2 hours to myself.
Let me tell you something. Staying at home by yourself, you start to hear everything, man. The refrigerator start talking, bookshelf starts moving, bruh. Table starts shuffling. You just start hearing all kind of stuff, bruh. TV's cut on you, but I thought I'd turn the TV off, bruh. Hot Pockets start cooking themselves. Like, I used to hate staying home by myself when I was younger. I mean, I used to like it at the same time, like, damn, I can game. Nobody's bothering me to do anything. But when it started getting dark and you start getting hungry and you scared to go in the kitchen, you run to the kitchen, turn the light on, you make what you gotta get, you do it, cut the light off, and run back to your room. But that was me. That's how I got so fast over the years.
By the time it reached 9 o'clock, I was starting to doze off.
There it goes.
I turned off the TV and headed to my room. I must have fallen asleep at some point because next thing I knew, I was suddenly jolted awake. My parents must have been home, or so I thought at the time. Then I noticed the clock by my bed said it was only 9:30. The house was quiet.
You got 30 more minutes.
My parents are usually very loud coming to the house, so I quickly realized they couldn't be home. Something had woken me up, though. I was disorientated at first, thought I was seeing things, but as the sleep cleared from my head, I realized what I was seeing was real.
What?
There was a face at the window. I was completely frozen as we both just stared at each other. The face was smiling. The smile slowly became a grimace. That's when I began to scream. But it was drowned out by the sound of glass breaking as the window exploded inwards. I jumped out of bed, tripping over the bed covers and stumbling to get away from the window as the woman burst through. She must have been about 70 years old, and she was stark naked.
Oh, bro, that's the best opportunity going wrong. Can you imagine if she wasn't 70 and some nice butt-naked woman just jumped to your bed? You're like, no, please, don't do it. Don't do anything. Don't come over here. I promise. You shouldn't come over here. I'm warning you. You better not come over here. I promise. Don't do it. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. But then again, she was 70 years old, so them day-old raisins, boy, it was all in the wind. Especially when she broke through the window with them bad butt with them puppies, boy. They flew. Ooh, he traumatized. I know it's like that has to be the reason why he was traumatized.
Image I'll never forget, no matter how much I tried to. As soon as she was on her feet, her eyes blazing with certain madness, she reached out to grab me. Her fingernails were sharp and yellow, and I almost felt them ghost the back of my neck as I turned and fled the room, slamming the door shut behind me. She was delayed for a moment as she tried to get the door open, and by that point I was already in the bathroom. The only room in the house with a lock on it. I was out of breath, and and I remember clearly the sweat gathering on my neck as I sat there, trying to comprehend what was happening. At first, I wondered if I had imagined the whole thing. That thought quickly disappeared when she began slamming against the door. I scrambled back as far away from the door as I could and fell into the bathtub. In a panic, I turned the faucet off for some reason. I don't know why.
Those sound effects on
My clothes
point.
were completely soaked. She was hitting that door so hard, I was worried it might start to crack open from the sheer force.
She's
The older woman
strong.
definitely has some unnatural strength to her.
Bruh.
After a while, she gave up.
She got dementia or
I heard her
something.
move away from the door and start shuffling through the rest of the house, muttering to herself. She kept saying stop or leave me alone or something like that over and over again. I don't know how long I stayed in that bathroom.
How's he doing this?
At the time, I knew nothing of religion, but I was praying for my parents to come home. After some time, I decided to brave going out. I hadn't heard the woman for some time. I thought she might have left. I tiptoed across the hallway to the kitchen and peered around. There was nothing.
I'm scared.
I could barely breathe, and my heart felt like it would burst from my chest. I could feel her staring at me.
Oh my god.
So I turned around, and there she was. Stood in the darkness of the hallway, grinning at me, with a mouth missing half her teeth. I screamed again and bolted for the front door. My fingers barely touched the handle when I remembered my parents had locked it before they left, and I had no clue where the keys were. The woman was right behind me. Her claw-like fingers grabbed the back of my shirt, but because my clothes were soaked from the bathtub, I was able to slip out of her grip, flee back to the
Lucky.
kitchen, and right there, the keys were on the island table.
Bruh, run.
I grabbed those suckers quick. Then I doubled back around to the living room, managed to throw the door open with the woman breathing down my back. I ran out into the night, not sure where I was going, but I was desperate to get away from that crazy old woman.
Dang,
She
was that
was
the...
still behind me, but I think she was starting to get tired because I was way ahead of her.
Bruh.
When I couldn't see her anymore, I almost collapsed from exhaustion. I cautiously walked back home, tired and drenched.
Nah,
I
bruh.
reached the house just as my parents pulled into the driveway.
Grab Motel 6.
My mom had a WTF expression on her face when she saw me, but it quickly turned into concern when I started to cry. I told them what had happened and my dad called 911 immediately. The rest of the night felt like a blur.
But did they catch her?
So was the rest of the school year, honestly. I'm pretty sure they eventually found her that night, and I assume she was sent to some institution where she belonged.
Shit, I hope so.
To this day, I start to feel a boulder-sized lump in my chest when I'm alone at night.
Dang, that was story 1, man. That was juicy.
Story 2. The Watcher.
Surprisingly, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I didn't throw any red flags. He did everything correct. It's just unfortunate that a 7-year-old lady with beanbag titties had to break through the window and try to kill this kid. But luckily, them puppies didn't get the chance to do so. How do you even fight somebody that's neck awkward thing? Sorry. Oh, sorry.
I'm a single woman living in a heavily wooded area of Tennessee, and I prefer to live by myself.
Red flags, heavily wooded.
I was home alone as usual, watching some cute TV movie, when I got an uneasy feeling of being watched.
Yep, I get that all the time in Army.
It's not something that's easy to describe, but I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck lifting like static.
Red
My
flag.
heart rate was faster than usual,
3rd red
a
flag.
thick beat beneath my skin.
4th red flag.
I tried to shake off the paranoia and carry on watching television, but the feeling began to grow stronger,
5th red flag.
until I couldn't concentrate on anything else.
6th red flag.
Feeling anxious about the whole thing, I eventually got up. I tried to tell myself I was just being silly, but it was difficult to ignore when it was so strong. I'd been living alone for about 2 years and I was pretty used to it, but I'd never had such an overwhelming feeling of disconcernment
Then
before.
listen to it.
It disturbed me. I ended up having a quick look around the house, checking that all the doors were locked and that I was definitely alone. Then I checked the windows just as an additional precaution, and that's when I saw it. I
What?
say it mostly because the gender was indeterminable. All I saw were the eyes
What are you talking about,
peering
Willis?
at me from the darkness outside the window. It caught me off guard and I did nothing but stare,
Where?
not entirely sure what to do. Those eyes continued watching me, colorless and
Is-
unblinking in the dark.
Is there something on the screen?
My fingers trembled a bit as I reached over to draw the curtains, shutting the eyes from my sight. I was tempted to call the police, but I could barely think rationally, let alone move. Hopefully, whoever the watcher was, they would just leave. I knew that all the doors were locked, but I still felt in danger. Who in their right mind would be all the way out here at this time?
I'm in danger.
I went around and checked the other windows,
Cameras.
closing the
people.
curtains so that nobody else could peek inside.
Cameras.
They were all empty until I reached the kitchen.
Not the kitchen, bro. Not where the food is. Come on, man.
I was just about to lower the blinds on the window behind the sink when two eyes suddenly appeared, flashing in the dark. It startled me. This time I screamed, stumbling back reflexively. The eyes watched me with the same uncanny intensity.
Watch this.
I thought I saw the curl of a mouth too, floating somewhere in the darkness. I swallowed down my panic and banged a fist against the window, trying to spook them. Go, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's
I yelled, but the eyes barely gave so much as a flutter. I tugged at the strings and the blinds rattled down, and still shaken, I went back to the front room. There was a chill in the house now. For a moment, I was worried that I'd left a window open somewhere, letting in some cool winter air.
Get the gun.
I realized it was just me.
Bazooka.
My own fear. When I had finally calmed down and found my resolve, I grabbed my flashlight and Ruger pistol from the drawer and went outside.
There we go.
It was a chilly night, and the darkness played havoc with my vision.
Hold on now.
The beam of my flashlight tracking shadows all across the lawn.
This is too extreme.
Went all around the house, flashing the light over each window.
This is
But
too
I never
much.
found the stranger who'd been watching me. Even now, I still remember their eyes peering through the glass, eerily intense. I obviously didn't sleep that night.
Bro.
Whoever or whatever it was still remains a mystery.
I can't live in the woods, bro. Look at this. You can't see anything. Something could be running towards you. You wouldn't even be able to see it, bro.
Story 3, Voices in the Walls.
So what did I think about story 2? What did I think it was? Was it a demon? Was it a ghost? Was it a alien? Was it a chupacabra? The El Cucuy? Like, we don't know, bro. Was it a Wendigo? Like, we don't know. We have to get the supernatural book out, turn some pages, and see what we can come up with, because we don't know what's going on anymore in these stories. But the fact that this dude is implementing all these sound effects in these videos is starting to mess with my health, my mental health, my physical capabilities. Right now, I'm breaking down. Usually I'm Detective Zems, but I'm not trying to stick around to find out what's going to happen, because this video is kind of low-key scaring me. And I don't have to watch cartoons. Give me some cartoon references down in the comment section that may be on Netflix that I may watch later before I go to sleep.
It happened during my first week at my new university. I had just moved into a decent apartment with an eye shot of the school, in preparation for the first day of the first semester, and I was feeling the nervous anticipation of living on my own for the first time. Sleep eluded me that first night. I was kept up both by my anxiety and excitement.
I feel you on that one.
It must have been nearing 2 in the morning when I heard voices. Not gonna lie, it was quite unsettling at first.
I'm sorry, can someone let me know down in the comment section? I don't know if you guys are noticing 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. is something wrong with the earth at that time, because I don't know what it is. During that time, all the crazy stuff happens for some reason. I don't know if there's some kind of energy shift, some magnetic force that rotates around the earth. I don't know. Those 2 hours, 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. is something wrong with those times.
I thought they were coming from inside the room, as if someone was inside my apartment. But I quickly realized the voices were coming through the walls. Since I was already feeling anxious, the whole thing creeped me out.
I mean, it could have just been people talking.
I couldn't hear what they were saying, muffled through the walls, but they kept me up for the rest of the night. I wish I could say that was the end of it, but it wasn't. The next few nights were the same. I would usually wake up around the same time after midnight and hear them. I figured it was just my neighbors speaking, but the voices gradually grew louder, began to pervade my sleep, creep into my dreams, and drag me right back into wakefulness.
Creep into his dreams. That's extreme,
And
though.
one night, things got way worse. I woke up one night to raised voices. The tension was palpable through the walls, and I could feel goosebumps raising along my skin
Get out
as
of
I
there.
listened to them.
Red flag.
I hadn't heard them fight like this before, and it seriously scared me. I had to lay there listening to the voices trembling with anger, sharp and vicious through the cracks in the walls. Then I heard a thud, right against the wall, on the other side of the room.
He threw it against the
I
wall.
swear my heart stopped. Everything went quiet after that. The silence felt loud. On one hand, I was grateful for the peace, but I couldn't get that thud out of my head. What had happened?
He threw her
Were
against
they
the wall.
okay? After what seemed like an eternity, I finally gave into my exhaustion and passed out. I woke up screaming when someone rapidly knocked on the door. Fists were slamming desperately against the wood. I could feel the vibrations in my head. I was terrified. I was alone and it was in the middle of the night, and I didn't want to answer the door. But they kept knocking, and with such urgency.
Nah, bro. I'm pretty sure it's 5 to 6 more apartments down the hallway. Nah, you better knock down that way. It's an apartment building. Either go to the next floor or not, man. Get up off my door, bro. Nah, I'm not there. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not. It's none of my business. Oh, nah. You never know. Anyway, these days, some people be faking like they need help, and then you open a door and they attack you. That's why it's best to be like, oh, what do you need? And you just call the police and the police come. You never supposed to open your door no matter what. Never, ever, ever open your door. Because those places like, oh, I need help. These guys are following me. And then on the camera, the dudes is like waiting on the side to like for her to open the door so they can run in and like rob them and stuff. So be careful with that. Sometimes you just got to be like, you know what? I want to sit this one out and let Jesus take the wheel. Oh, that scream
I felt compelled to get up. My door didn't have a peephole or anything, so I opened it up slowly.
What?
Keeping a foot wedged against the back of it in case I had to shut it quickly. To my surprise, it was a young woman. Her face was barely visible. It was obstructed by what seemed to be blood-soaked hair.
Blood-soaked
From what I could see, one of her eyes was red from crying.
So you're not
There was a bruise flowering across her cheek.
Can you go shut the door?
I realized it was my neighbor. She struggled to get words out when I asked her what happened. She sounded almost like how a deaf person speaks. She told me in hushed panic whispers that she'd had a fight with her boyfriend, and that he had tried to kill her. I noticed that her jaw was completely broken. So before she finished talking, I had the door open and was ushering her inside, locking it after her.
I'm on edge. I'm sorry.
I turned around towards her, and what I saw next absolutely horrified me.
Oh!
Her hair barely moved out of the way when I noticed that not only was her eyeball hanging out, but her boyfriend had ripped her mouth open into a Glasgow smile. I immediately understood why she was talking like that. I told her to stay where she was while I phoned 911. As I was speaking to them, I could hear someone thrashing around next door, things breaking and shattering.
She'd be like, take your time, Junior. No, sir. No, I get one per episode. One dark joke. Oh, man.
My neighbor, who I later learned was named Emily, looked terrified. I was scared too. Mainly that the boyfriend would come looking for her. We ended up hiding in my room until the cops and medics arrived. He tried to run away, but they released a canine unit after him, which was quite satisfying to be honest.
K9 boy? Yeah, he tore her.
After speaking with the detective about the experience, I later learned that her boyfriend was honorably discharged from the Marines after 2 terms in Afghanistan.
Them crayons, boy, I'm telling you.
He had suffered from PTSD. A week later, I saw Emily's father helping her move out. She had a patch over her eye, stitches across her face, and she looked absolutely miserable. It was a horrible experience to say the least, and it made my first week at college memorable for all the wrong reasons.
I bet. Please go subscribe to this dude. If you do not do anything else, even if you don't subscribe to me, please go subscribe to him. That was an amazing video, man. Let me know down in the comment section if you enjoyed this video, if you would like to see more of content from him. Also, this video is by Daily Dose of Creeps. Make sure you go swoop down to the description box, click on the link, and go watch the videos in entirety while me pausing, stopping, and talking through the whole thing. Yo, Chaz Johnson, thank you so much for recommending me this channel. Really, really appreciate it. Again, JJCG, I have not forgot about your request. We're going to get back into that sometime this week whenever it responds to my email. That's crazy, dude. What a show. I think the craziest one had to be the last one. I thought it was going to be a ghost story, but Voices in the Walls was actually the people that was arguing next door. So I thought he said it kept them up all night, which means they was arguing for hours on end. And I'm thinking, it's like, oh, it's ghosts. You know, the house is haunted. 2 a.m., 3 a.m. That's usually where the hauntings and stuff happen or the crazy stuff happen, but it was an actual thing. He ripped her mouth open and popped out her eyeball, which is, it happens. If you hit somebody hard enough, you could pop that eyeball. Kimball sliced it to somebody in the video. His eye was like almost hanging out his socket because he hit him so hard. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Reprisal Zems, and welcome to the Crow's Nest. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, man. Keep showing support, keep doing all that great stuff, and the videos will keep coming. Keep showing your recommendations, and I'll try to get around to all of them. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And oh yeah, oranges are better than apples.